I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. So, what we got here, my good friends, is a webman, a CT Toys webman. And you may be asking yourself, why is Doctor Doom here? There's a good reason. There's a damn good reason why Doctor Doom is here. My main man collecting his fun is big on the history of the figures. He'll break it down for you. Generally, that's not something I do. I'm familiar with the history, but it's just not something I do. But I feel it is warranted for a webman. You see, back in 1977, Spider-Man had a comic book called Spidey Super Stories. It was generally aimed at children, which is strange because around 1977, most comic books were still, kind of aimed at children. But this was apparently sponsored by the Electric Company. If you don't know what the Electric Company is, you're going to have to Google it. I'm not going to break it down for you. Children's show back in the 70s. So it was even more childish than just the regular comic books. My older brother was the one who bought the comics, and he was a teenager at the time. So he wouldn't have bought this. This is something I probably would have bought because I would have been young enough, just learning how to read back then, to Super Spidey stories, but he didn't buy those. It's not to say that the stories of the 70s were, there's some great stories back then, but if you were to read an old comic book from 1970 something and compare it to one of the stories in the new aughts, it would blow your mind how different they are, how adult and how advanced they are with their storytelling and the art and everything. I mean, after I read Avengers Ultimates, I can guarantee you in 1977 Black Widow would not have walked into Hawkeye's house and blown away his wife and his children. That wouldn't have happened in 1977. If you haven't read Avengers Ultimate, spoiler alert, sorry about that. But so Spidey Super Stories, they decided to make a story where Doctor Doom, I mean, you have to read this, okay? And you can read it for absolutely free. It's on the Internet Archive. I would post the link to it. Spidey Super Stories, issue 25. Again, I would post a link to it, but I am not sure if it's supposed to be on the Internet Archive, which is totally free. If you're not familiar with the Internet Archive, it's totally free. And but I don't want to be posting links to what could be copyrighted material. Just go to the Internet Archive and read Spidey Super Stories 25 to learn about Webman, who Dr. Doom created in a dilapidated apartment. I have so many questions after reading this story about Dr. Doom and Webman and why he's in that apartment and why he chose to use his clone machine to make a Spider-Man. It is very confusing. And Dr. Doom should be ashamed of his appearance in that show. But anyway, we have the CT Toys a la Mafex Webman, who was a direct inverse of the, I think his Mafex 186 Spider-Man. It's exact same figure, just inverted colors. And this is a Marvel Legends, by the way. I'm sure you recognize that. So we could just have a Spider-Man to compare Webman to. But, and I'm sure while I have all kinds of questions about Webman, that's not to say that this action figure is going to be anything but excellent. I am sure it's going to be great because the CT Toys and the Spider-Man and most of my CT Toys Spider-Man have been outstanding. Oh, wow. I really blew that. Let's try that again. And most of my CT Toys Spider-Man have been outstanding. So let's cut this sucker open. And here goes Webman out of the box looking like brand new money. We should also mention, okay, this is kind of important. This is February 7th. This arrived on February 3rd. If you order these knockoffs or anything from AliExpress or Wish or Shine or Temu or whatever, you're probably aware that the current administration on February 4th said, no more packages coming in from China through USPS. No more packages. Letters maybe, but no more packages. Since I live in a semi-rural area, that's bad. I mean, I can't get anything. That's it for me. I'm done. Me and AliExpress are done. Then later that day, they backtracked and said, okay, packages can come. Because apparently, a lot of medicine comes from China and Hong Kong in packages, so that's bad. And then I think the next day, they decided that we're just going to start slapping tariffs and fees on these packages. Again, this came a day before they made these announcements. I've seen people on Reddit threads saying that they've ordered things and they've had to pay exorbitant fees for their AliExpress packages. And again, we're not trying to get political here. This is not a political channel. This is a toy channel. Now, as it so happens, Chris is a very political guy. Hyper political. But politics will never bleed over into this channel. This is a toy channel. This is toy information. I don't know how this is going to affect all of us who buy things from like these AliExpress or Temu or Wish or whatever sites directly. I don't know how it's going to affect Hasbro or McFarlane or whoever who gets all of their products from China. Just, I'm not sure. But we are definitely going through some changes as far as our collecting is concerned. So just to be aware. Fortunately, I got this guy and a few other things before the changes came. I got a couple other things, not much, but a couple other things that are supposed to be coming. I don't know if they're coming or if they're not. We shall see. They've already been paid for. I know that. But anyway, with that non-political information out of the way, let's say we take a look at Webman. Okay, just to be honest here, there's not a lot that's going to happen in the next few minutes that's going to make me not love Webman. So, I mean, if we start moving around and everything on him falls off, I'm still going to love this guy. This is Webman, and Webman is a trip. Webman is Spider-Man's evil clone who showed up in a piece of a magazine 40 plus years ago, and they made an action figure out of him, and I am here for it. But anyway, here goes Whipman. We went ahead and put on, he has as you can see, he has a ton of hands. He has magnetic feet, magnetic hands. We went ahead and switched a pair of his hands, put on his, I think this is his evil head, maybe? And there is just by looking at him, there's a lot to like about this guy. So, all of his webs are imprinted on his body. They are imprinted. They aren't drawn. They are imprinted, except for the head. But all of these web lines, if you feel them, they are imprinted on his body. And I don't know how they got the black in these lines. I don't know whether they just did a wash, but they're all imprinted. His spider on the front and his spider on the back, not painted, it might be painted, but it's raised. It is raised off the body, which is pretty darn phenomenal. Yeah, his web lines on his feet and his legs also imprinted on the body. I mean, okay, this guy costs $20. Again, I am the first person to say, yes, these CT toys are cheap and they're wonderful, but that's because they do not pay licensing fees. Nonetheless, this is an amazing figure for the money. Again, the cheapest part of making an action figure is actually making an action figure. Doing all the licensing and tuning and all that. We've been over that, but let's forget about that and just focus on the figure itself. And this figure is wonderful. But again, like I said, let's see how Webman moves. Webman, of course he has double jointed, smooth legs and knee joints. Of course he has a smooth front and back with toe articulation and ankle rockers to the left and the right. Of course he has that. Of course. He's He's a Spider-Man. Of course he has double jointed elbows. He has to. Of course he can strike a T-pose. See, he fell apart just like that. I'm going to take responsibility for that, for making Webman do something that he was not designed to do. Easy enough to put back in. Yeah, Webman striking the T-pose. Webman, ab crunch front, ab crunch back. Drop hips to go up. I would say he kicks like a rocket, but a rocket can't do that. Even a rocket can't do that. Oh, goodness gracious, Webman. Webman, I love you so much right now. Of course, Webman has, you can look up so far, look down so far. How does can Webman strike a decent kung fu pose? He's a Spider-Man. We got to think he can. Let's get his, Is that a decent kung fu? Is that decent enough for you? Is that a decent kung fu pose for you? Oh my goodness. How does my Marvel Legend strike a kung fu pose? He's not bad at all either, quite honestly. He does pretty good for himself too. Truth be told. He's good. But I don't know if he's Webman good. And here goes Webman, Spider-Man's evil clone. Seriously, you should probably stop what you're doing right now, go over to the Internet Archive and read Spidey Super Stories issue 25. And check out the origin, the beginning, and the end of Webman. We love Webman, even though maybe his left arm might seriously be broken. I don't know. I don't care, because Webman is amazing. Yes, we understand that Webman is a knockoff replica bootleg. We understand that, I don't know, that these figures could very well be doing harm to the industry. I don't know. And I also know that maybe these figures won't be coming anymore due to changes in delivery structure put in by the new administration. I don't know, but I know I got my Webman before the changes came in. And I love Webman. Webman is loaded with accessories. Webman's costume looks great. Webman has embedded web lines on his body. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, except on a Moped. I guess that's something they do. Raised spiders on the front and the back. Amazing articulation. Can do everything a spider can do. Maybe Dr. Doom doesn't love Webman. He shouldn't love Webman, because this is, again, you need to read Spidey Super Stories issue 25. It will totally change your view of Dr. Doom. We have to hope that that's not canon, but Webman, an amazing action figure, if ever there was one.